Drop top on a Wednesday, sunroof with the hot top. Talk cheap while you in state, hard life when your heart knocks. Every day is a sin day, always had the bad thoughts. Yeah, drop top on a Wednesday, hey, KQ on a Wednesday. Is it time for change or has the times been changed? Everything I see is so wild and strange.
All right. Hello, listeners to the Highly Doubted Podcast. I'm your host, KQ Dog, and this is episode 144. Wait, is this episode 144 or is this 145? 144. Yes. Can't be skipping dates. Can't be skipping. If anything, if I was on time like I was for last week, this would be 145, but this is 144. Hello, listeners. Welcome. New listeners from the Spotify family, from the Apple Podcast family, from the YouTube family, everybody who's tapped in. Thank you for tapping in. If I had a personal one-on-one with you and literally put the podcast in your phone to make sure that you got this episode, thank you for listening. Shout out to y'all, man, for real. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be a really, really lengthy episode. I'm not going to lie to you. For my listeners who know me, I usually am more consistent than this, but life is life. Like I've been telling you over the last couple episodes, where I am now getting a pocket of time. I will emphasize a pocket of time to where I can come in and tell y'all about what's going on with KQ and his life and what's going on in Charlotte and what's going on in the world and just a whole bunch of things that's on my mind. This will really be a life episode of KQ and what he's been doing and how he's been living. And not even saying talking in third person is weird, but I'm just giving y'all an understanding that I'm going to be telling y'all some stories about KQ and how he's been living life, okay? Before we get to that, we are going to get to the word of the day. The word of the day is immutable. I-M-M-U-T-A-B-L-E, immutable. It is an adjective. It means it is unchangeable, not subject or susceptible to change. Let us use immutable in a sentence. No matter how smart your engineers, the laws of physics are immutable. Almost everybody agrees that the past is fixed and immutable. That's the immutable message of March Madness. Win now or go home. And let me tell you, folks, after the last episode where I talked about ACC, March Madness was ending while I was doing life in a game, but I don't want to skip too much. But I will say for all the March Madness Duke fans out there, I am sorry that it ended that way. UConn hit a last-minute shot that shocked the world. Shocked the world. I know you basketball fans were like, man, ain't no way we gonna have this once in a prayer shot be thrown up and beat Duke, but damn it, it did. Shout out to UConn for winning the championship. That's just how the cookie crumble, man. That's how March Madness go. But that's just one of many things that happened over these last couple weeks that I will be talking about. But I had to just bring that up because, hey, immutable. That's the word of the day. Oh my goodness. So much stuff to talk about. Last thing I want to bring up, referencing last episode, was shout outs. And I did some shout outs to some people that represented ACC. And to be completely honest with you, I almost feel like certain things that have happened is my fault. Not saying I did anything, but I didn't. Shout out to chefs. Shout out to the chefs out there. Shout out to the chefs, not just at the job, but chefs, period, man. Y'all got it hard out here, man. And I just want to give y'all salute, all the listeners who, you may not be a chef, but you be chefing in your kitchen. You know, shout out to you. You know, shout out to the people who be whipping it up, man, because it's a job without it being a job sometimes, you know. I just have to give love and appreciation to all of y'all because not only do y'all work hard, but y'all make a lot of people happy with the food that y'all make. So shout out to the chefs. Definitely want to give love and appreciation there at the top of the podcast. We are going to be talking about KQ and what he's been doing over the last 2 weeks. It has been work. on top of work, games on top of games on top of games. I will somewhat intertwine this conversation with the Hornets and their clinch in to the play-ins as you're not hearing this recording, that we've been having a lot of home games and a lot of wins and a lot of interactions and a lot of events and a lot of surprises and a lot of stuff happening in Spectrum Arena, and it's had my attention. So I will be here to give y'all the full shebang of how the last week has been off of ACC, because we can really just get back into it. Off of ACC, we had a whole Dell Curry retirement run. We had a dinner for him, his loved ones and close friends at the arena that honored him and what was about to happen, which was his jersey banner being risen into the rafters. So I was a part of that dinner. Also, the game itself against the Magic, we won. We beat them. And the halftime celebration was longer, but it was for the celebration of Del Curry, his jersey retirement, the banner going up. Steph was in the building. Seth was in the building. The Curry family was in the building. It was a big game outside of the Hornets just being in the contention of getting to playoff/play-in. So it was just a lot of energy, and we are downstairs in the pristine premium club. So we got to be on it. We got to be on it. I got to be on it. My club is my club be having the most people downstairs, and there's a lot of work that comes with making sure all these people are satisfied, along with other festivities that are happening. A lot of moving parts, y'all. A lot of moving parts. A lot of people who listen to this podcast who know me personally, if we haven't had contact in a while, this job that I'm talking about consists of the hype of the Hornets. So if you have not been paying attention or only been paying attention by just hearing that the Hornets are doing well, that means my ass is busy. So if you ever see anything Hornet related where the Hornets are doing this, the Hornets are doing that, the Hornets is about to go, if they're going somewhere, we ain't going nowhere. But when the Hornets are home and there's something going on, like a basketball game, trust and believe there's more than just a basketball game happening inside of that arena. There's a whole lot of other stuff, whole lot of other events and things that just go on that make the whole game a festive event outside of just the game. And I have to be present. So days on days, it don't care about the scheduling of the podcast. KQ got to make time to get the podcast in, okay? But no, I love it. It's been it was great to be in the presence of all those events, the dinner, the game, being in the prestigious club downstairs where everything is happening, where you get to see most of the action, not just the game, but just the people who are of high echelon walking around and murmuring around. Also, I got shout out to my regulars, shout out to my people. If you don't even know I have a podcast, but shout out to my regulars, people who be coming in, dapping up the dog. Shout out to all the people who be coming in and trying to make sure everything is nice and looks good. And the whole team is tired, but I will say it's because of the success of the Hornets. So it's not so much of us dreading it. It's us just having to keep up the energy of the hype. This is what is happening. The Hornets have made a huge turnaround in one season. If you do not know, ownership has changed throughout that season. The renovation of Spectrum Arena has changed in one season. So if you have been to Spectrum, let's say last year, and you wasn't even a game, it was just something. It does not look the same as it did last year. I might have spoken to that in previous episodes, but I will say to it again. This arena is not the arena that we grew up on, ladies and gentlemen. This Hornets team is not the Hornets team that we grew up on, ladies and gentlemen. This is a whole new era that is happening right now before our very eyes, but literally in my very club. My job is to make sure that the presence of the Hornets when they have a game is in its best viewpoint and satisfaction when it comes to the people coming into ICC. So that's a big job, huge job. It is not for the weak, but I will say it's something that I wouldn't want any other way. I wouldn't want to be a regular runner again like I was last year. I am very blessed to be a supervisor, like I've always said. But being a supervisor in this club for this team this season, and it's my first, yeah, it's a lot of moving parts, man. I ain't gonna lie, I've been joking around. I said I feel like I'm Conker Nipple. You know what I'm saying? I'm over here just being the young rookie supervisor, killing shit. You know what I'm saying? Of course, there's things that to be better on, but hey, man, in terms of what's happened to me and Con, we right there, brother. Shooting them threes up. Yeah, making sure the club's good. Hail Mary. Throw it to my person. Throw it to my front line. Throw it to my back line. You know, definitely making sure that my team is looking good when we are serving these people during the game. And that's where I would transition into this, go deeper into this topic of me and the job and time. I have had a real crash course lesson in a couple things. Being a supervisor, being a coworker in the ecosystem of other supervisors, and then also maintaining the balance of having business and personal not be mixed into things, right? So a lot of things have hit me at the same time with this job in terms of responsibilities and expectations and audibles and situations. You know, I think every person in management understands what I'm saying, and I think they'll know that comes with the job. You know, that's part of it. Expect it. Do not expect a day where nothing will not go wrong. You know, so head always have to be on the swivel. But I really just want to get to my team, the people that are under me when I do these events for these games. I'm not giving out names. Sorry, no names. But if you're on my team and you listen to this podcast and you know about what we do when we get down in the games, y'all know that I appreciate every single one of y'all who do what y'all do to make sure that the podcast, the club runs as efficiently as it does. I would have had this conversation, or this topic would have been more so of the reflection of the whole season, but the season is not over. As you have seen on ESPN, we are going to the play-ins. Now, again, that's very one and done. So this conversation or this topic could be very, very short-lived, and we could be going to other properties and start doing things for us for other properties, right? But we are going to stay in the moment. We're going to stay in the moment, and we're going to see, especially as they just beat the Nets, how they're going to go into the play-ins. Are they going to be away, or are they going to be home? And that is where my ass and everybody else who's in Spectrum Arena is just looking at the ticker. It ain't about us anymore preparing. It's about what the Hornets are going to do with these games. If the Hornets win, we in business. Hornets don't, then we not. So it's an interesting limbo type of feeling we're all in, all across the board, but we're enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. I'm having a great time. This is a wonderful, great debut to be a supervisor. But nah, as I said before, the team that I have is very special, and they definitely know how to get things done. I need to be better, obviously, in certain areas so I can be more efficient. It's my first year, but know your team, man. Know your roster. You know, if now I'm talking to people who just want to hear about the jewels or advices that I have. If you are not a supervisor, or you've never been a supervisor, or you're wanting to get into a supervisor position, this is the part where I can be a little bit of an OG. Just a little bit. Know your team, man. Know your employees, right? Know your roster. That's what I called it. Really understand that everybody's different. You can't just be a one-stop shop for everybody, especially when it comes to personalities. These are things that I've learned. I felt like I had a game plan going into the season about how I was going to be a supervisor and what type of way I was going to approach things, but I'm not saying I am not doing things that like I wanted to, but I could not have been prepared for any of the things that happened. I had to learn how I was going to react to it on the fly. And I think that's where you have to really know if you're built for this. I'm built for this. I don't want to be cocky, but I'm built for this. I'm a people person. But I think at the same time, when it comes to being a professional in a space of, catering, I have a background of being a banquet server at the Grandover Resort in Greensboro, doing weddings and doing big, masterful lunches, hundreds and hundreds of people, and we are all tuxed, suited up, and we have to plate 10, 20, 30, 40 plates, 40 tables, excuse me, and we're like assigned 5 of them. Like, I know, like, I've been in similar high-end situations where it is very earth-shattering to someone who doesn't know how this game works. So I have some skin in the game before I even got to this. So I know how it goes. And not even to be funny, but I had the blessing of working with children and working with other type of minds who I had to be over and had to adapt. Yes, I'm saying that me working as a camp counselor for children helped me be a supervisor for these adults. Yes, that's what I'm saying. Because at the end of the day, I don't care if I am 20. Well, we'll get to that. I don't care if I'm 28. And I don't care if my employees are my elders. In this moment, I am your supervisor. Never do I feel like I have to remind anyone of that, because they know that. They're not stupid. They know that. But in terms of my direction and how I lead them dictates the maturity and the respect that they give me. Right? So saying that my first encounter with being a camp counselor with children, I realized I can't be a friend. You know what I'm saying? And that's really easy to do with children because children are children, but that's where you have to have that stern line. But at the same time, you don't have to be an asshole. You don't have to be a dickhead. You can talk to them. You can be fun and playful and charismatic and still have a good time, but know that the boundary still remains, right? And I think I said that very well when I was a camp counselor. It was a very great experience. The whole point of it is I understand what that means in this department, right? I have a very chill personality to where I have a open door policy about any type of issues or problems anyone wants to talk to me about. At the same time, do not think that you can get anything over on me. Listen, as a young supervisor, I understand that I'm not going to get everything right, and sometimes I'm going to get things wrong more than right because it's my first time. I'm learning these buttons and analog sticks and what this button do and how this thing work, and if I do this, then that happens. Like, I don't know. I'm learning, but in the learning, I appreciate the people that are under me to give me the grace when I do make mistakes. And at the end of the day, I think even though I'm a supervisor, they're employees. I'm younger, they're older. I'm younger, I'm older, they're younger. We're human, right? And I think that balance of understanding kind of helps out the conversation and communication I have with people. I'm asking you to do this because this needs to be done, not to pick on you, not to be like, but hey, can you do that? Thank you for doing that. I go about my business. I see that the thing was done. I come back to you and say, thank you for handling that. Even though I already told you thank you, I just want to say I noticed what you did and I appreciate what you did. So thank you. That's always been my policy just because I like that type of shit. Not saying I want everything to be oh my God, you did it. Because that's not what it is, but it is an appreciation. This is a high intense thing, especially in the moment, right? A lot of things are happening. A lot of people are around. A lot of things are happening. There is no shame to anyone who would get overstimulated in these type of environments. My people are built different because I'm built different. So the team is different. and we be killing shit. So yeah, I just say all that to say shout out to my team, man. Shout out to the people who I, have on my roster throughout this season. And like I said, even during meetings when I have with them, I give them the grace and love and understanding that, their their efforts and their work that they're doing is the reason why the club is moving the way it's moving. I'm just making the calls. I understand that I'm the supervisor. I'm making the calls. But if I'm making the call, you have to execute. And when you execute, that makes my calls look good. That makes the people who see me make the call happy, and everybody's happy, right? So it's just a whole bunch of moving parts. And I appreciate that the parts that I control work. Some improvements, though. Will be improvements next season, but I appreciate it still. So that was my rant for the supervisor and all that good stuff. I don't want to get too deep into that this early in the podcast, but I will move on to things that were also happening while I was out and about doing things. Wasn't here blessing y'all. I went to my first out of state event for the company. It was dope. I went to Darlington, South Carolina to help out our lovely motor speedway property to do a race, right? The race was in Darlington. And as I've told you guys throughout the last year or the last series of podcasts, that I have a very loving relationship with the motor speedway crew. And I am going to be available for them when they need me. Well, I'll be available when the season's over, right? I've already said that. I said that before the season even started last year. So, that's just something that I'm already getting my feet wet in. And it was a dope experience. Hot, very hot. But hey, man, I love the summertime. Let's get through the general stuff. Tyler Reddick, shout out to Toyota. Tyler Reddick won the race. He's been having a fantastic season. That is Jordan's man, right? That's the Jordan team that I've been speaking over the last couple episodes. Tyler Reddick won the race. Shout out to him. Obviously, the season's going around. I'm not that tapped in because you see what's in my face. But when I am doing the races and I'm up on what's happening, I definitely want to update you and keep you updated as well as I'm updated. But after that, which was the big kahuna, let me tell you about the people. So if y'all are familiar with Druski, he did a skit a while back ago, trolling or mimicking the NASCAR community as a general casual NASCAR fan. And he went full character with the hair, the skin bleaching, the outfit. The skits were very funny. And for me watching it, it was funny because I was at my house and just watching it on my phone. Now, the beauty of this is he was at Darlington last year that we as a company host, like we've been doing, where I have two co-workers who were at that race who were actually in the same area when Druski was doing it live. And that's where it became such a phenomenal moment of three degrees of separation. But I say that to say, this is the same race that he was at that I was working. And I was out there with the people. And when I tell you that Druski made one of the most accurate skits that I have seen, he did. There was different types of whites. And when I tell y'all people, I'm going to be respectful. I'm not going to just trash the people that we serve and that came to see a wonderful race. Those are good, hard-working, paying people to watch a race, damn it. To watch some good old octane. To watch some tires run, But with all due respect, those are the most ugliest white men I have ever seen. Ever. I'm sorry. I had to say it. I'm sorry. You could find me on Instagram, look at my picture, take crack jokes. I don't care. But those are some of the most ugliest white men I've ever seen. The ugliest white men be at the track, man. Oh my goodness. And you can't tell them nothing. And me, I'm a guest. So who am I to say anything? But boy, when I was out there just looking at the people, looking at the men, no homo, pause. And I was just looking. I was just like, man, this is what the ladies got to look at and deal with out here. Yikes. Like, God forbid you get a 50-year-old man with his shirt off, whole back and chest just rubbery red, brown, just walking up to you with a bush light talking about how you doing. Yeah. Listen, man, it's not my type of place to be. I'm here to work, but at the same time, I'm a people watcher. If you shout out to all my people watchers out there who see things and just comment to yourself, unless if you're by yourself. But if you have someone with you while you're people watching, ooh, it's the best thing ever. I didn't have anyone to people watch with. I was working, but I was walking back up and down, bringing ice and refilling drinks and refilling, beers to the portable bars that were in the fan zone. Very long strip of earth that I had to walk up and down. I was walking up and down it for 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 6 hours straight. The race started at 3. I got there at 8. Started working at, let's just say I started working at 9. I was walking up and down that strip for 6 hours straight. Ice. And when I tell you I was just seeing a whole bunch of everything, man, oh man. I'm not here to disrespect the company that keeps the NASCAR ecosystem alive. I'm not going to do that. I have this platform is too big. This platform represents Charlotte. This platform represents things that are, new to people outside of North Carolina and Charlotte. So me being the person, the flagship, the beacon, the podcast that tells you everything in Charlotte is not going to shit on our brothers and sisters in South Carolina. We're not going to do it. Not going to do it. Sorry. But you will know if you go to a NASCAR race in Darlington, South Carolina. You understand what I'm saying? We're going to move on because I did have a lot of conversations with people outside, off the mic on this podcast about that. And I just, they told me, you're not wrong, but damn. And I was like, you right. I should not go. That would be irresponsible of me to go on my podcast and just slander the people. I'm not going to do that. Big love to all you NASCAR fans and all you Darlington, South Carolinians. Shout out to y'all for making us work our tails off to give y'all a satisfying game race. We was out there catering to y'all. So shout out to y'all, man. We're not gonna shit on the ugly white men and women that were there. All right. April's coming. April's here, actually. April Fool's Day is actually the day this podcast released. And if you all know me, that's the day before my birthday. Hey. Yes, I will be turning 29 this year. 29. 29. 29. I have been working so much that this is the first time, even when I was in California doing what I was doing with the podcast, this is the first time that work has been I've been engulfed in work so much. Obviously, I know the days. I know my birthday's coming up. I took a game off from my birthday, so I ain't going to be there for the game. Oops, excuse me. I ain't going to be there for the game. They know that. But this is the first time that I'm really looking at my birthday as you need to get away. You need a day for yourself and just enjoy yourself, your birthday. My birthday is coming around in a time where I've never really looked at my birthday as something to be we got to go crazy. But I've been working a lot. I deserve to do something special for myself. And what I'm doing is going to the studio and getting this album started. And then I'm going bowling with some people, with some friends, with some fam, So that's what I'm doing. The game will be against the Phoenix Suns, but I will not be there. I'll be there on the 3rd for the Pacers, and I'll be there for all the other things that need to be done for Spectrum in between until we face the Pistons on the 10th. So depending on how they perform for the rest of the season depends on the rest of my schedule for April. Not a bad thing, because there will be things that I'll be doing, but I will say the schedule is wide open, at least for everybody here, myself included, to see how the Hornets are going to perform for the rest of the season. But for my birthday, it is going to be that day to where I can just lock in and be, well, for music purposes, lock in and be KQ, the artist, and just finally get the wheels turning with music to have that's a part of the new project. I have 2 projects I'm working on, actually, not at the same time, but not necessarily like for the whole time. It just so happened that the beats that I bought was a bundle, and the producer that did the bundle, more beats are on the second project that I have after this current incessant project. So I just went ahead and just made that purchase and got those beats for the second project. So I have them, but I still do have to create, another budget for the actual project itself, which will be coming soon. Yeah. I won't say too much on that. I will say that singles will be coming after this studio session. Not necessarily the song that I recorded, but there will be singles that will finally be dropping to, start to get the water boiling. Start to warm up the water so it can get hot for when the anticipation of the project comes out. And there's already been music and a whole rollout and a whole bunch of activity that's been going on up until that point. Shout out to the people at my job once again, because you guys have really been giving me support through just saying KQ in the building. Like, I don't even like to emphasize or harp on that, even expose that, but that does give me like a jolt of motivation to like get my shit together. You know what I'm saying? Like, these people are believing in you, whether it be music or podcasting. At the end of the day, it's going to transfer to the music to where, hey man, you're building your fan base, you're building your crew, you're building your niche group of people who will ride for you when the music starts to drop. Right? Because they love what you got. They love what you've been doing. Obviously, they understand you not making music like that because you're at the job. So, I appreciate the people at the job who understand what I'm trying to do and are willing to help and support that when the time is ready. The time will be coming soon. And I definitely want to make sure that I have everything in place to when I say we about to move. When we move, we're going to really step. So, my birthday is the first step to really make that happen. I will definitely have I'll have a recap about that as well. You know what I'm saying? Have a recap about that. Also, I want to say to all the people that I've talked to on the podcast, especially since my birthday is coming up, just having a whole new attitude about this podcast. I will say the 2 weeks that I've been away, I've had this real weird realization about this podcast. Even though I've been potting by myself in the last couple episodes, and regardless of the environment that I'm in when I'm recording, this feels like a journal log. I mean, that's what a podcast is, but I mean, at some point, I feel like this podcast was a place for friends and laughing and all that good stuff, but now it's just turned into a KQ dog. And yeah, I love listening to me. I love listening to myself. I love that, but I miss people. I want people. So I think I've been speaking on having people on the podcast, and there was just plans to get that right. And shout out to Devin. And, that was a spontaneous one, but I need to start to open up the schedule, start to make an effort to get the schedule open again, to start having voices on the podcast. It's crazy because this has been the longest stretch in this podcast history that I haven't had voices on the podcast. I've understood that in the process of making the podcast, it was mine and my own, and there would be a grind, or there would be the thought of doing this by myself. But because of how the podcast has transformed over the last couple years, it's like, yeah, KQ is cool because he's him. But where the people at, man? Highly Doubted Podcast is good when there's people. So I'm definitely going to get the people back into the fold with the podcast, with the topics and everything that is entertaining and newsworthy, to bring back some life, show that this podcast is really the voice of Charlotte. When you got people from Charlotte speaking on this podcast about things that are going on. You know what I'm saying? Not just your super celebrity or a person who has a business. Get the people. The people. Maybe that was my realization. It doesn't have to be a person who has a creative situation. Yes, it would be nice, but sometimes it's just nice to chat it up with the people. So that's something that I'm definitely going to try to move on into the new solar return of me, not the new year, but 29 KQ going into this podcast journey, the road to infinity. What is going to change? 144 is a episode. It's not a sexy number, definitely when 150 starts to get there, or when I get to 150, I want to do some changes. But hey, why wait till 150? Let's do 145. Let's switch it up and do some new things. Let's add some things. Let's get some animations. Let's get some other things than just a post, So if we're going to continue to do this podcast, and even though it's not visual, we have to do things to make it more entertaining for the people, So if I can't get the visual there, then at least let me get the voices there. So people love podcasts. People want to talk. So I know that people who are on the podcast will definitely tune in and tell their friends that, hey, I'm on the podcast. Tune in. We'll be talking about, right? And I think that's where I like to market the podcast. Obviously, I do it on Instagram, but word of mouth, man, that word of mouth is just one of the craziest, most organic ways to grow. And I like that. It starts off small, but it gets bigger and bigger, and to the point where it's the person who was talking about the podcast is on the podcast and talking on the podcast. And, it doesn't necessarily have to be 1,000 million listeners, but it's the growth of the podcast of people just growing it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind being the person who is a host and brings up topics, but the podcast is literally the people's podcast. You know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily always about me and what I'm doing and how my life is. This isn't the KQ podcast. I had this conversation a while ago with my co-hosts Daryl and Whitley, and we were having conversations about changes. Like, this isn't the KQ podcast. This is the Highly Doubted podcast, which highlights people who are highly doubted or highly doubted things, or just the concept of the podcast being for the people who are not heard when it comes to things. And that doesn't always have to be from a creative space. It mostly does come from a creative space. But yeah, I want to get back to that, as well as messiness and drama. We're not a PBS fuckers. We are extreme, okay? We haven't been extreme. We haven't done a Triple X episode. God knows if we'll ever have one of those again anytime soon. But we've had our extremes, and we're not going to just stay lukewarm for this long, especially when I have all these people wanting to get on the podcast and talk. We're going to get on the podcast. You're going to talk. We're going to see what y'all talking about. We're going to see. All right. So like I said, yeah, April's coming up. My birthday's coming up. Getting back in the studio is going to be fun. I cannot wait. It's going to be Literally the first time I've recorded since I've been back in Charlotte. That's been 2 years. God, I have not recorded. I've not been in the studio in 2 years. Damaging. But that doesn't mean I'm rusty. I'm not rusty. I practice like I play. So everything that I do in my room when I'm practicing the songs is exactly how I want it to sound in the studio, except the engineer is going to definitely make that shit sound 1,000 times better because I'm in the studio. So yeah, that's going to be fun. Like I said, I'll update y'all out on that later. Darlington, we talked about Darlington. Hey, I guess this won't, well, we have some things to talk about. I have some topics to talk about. I'm not going to lie. There have been some things that have been happening. A lot of things have happened since I've been gone. And like I said to you guys or people who are not familiar with this podcast, I do not talk about things that the world talks about. I talk about things that I want to talk about. If it just so happens that I'm talking about what the world's talking about, that's fine. But I like to talk about things that interest me because I have takes and I have foolishness that I like to get off about these topics. So this probably will be one of those things where the things I'm talking about are old, but people are talking about it and I want to talk about it. And some things are very relevant. Here we go. Numero uno. Hannah Montana 20-year reunion. Yep, you see where I'm starting. I just said in the beginning of this podcast, there are different types of whites. That might be the title of this podcast. And Hannah Montana, Miley Cyrus, that whole era Disney Channel when I was growing up, Hannah Montana was lit. Hannah Montana was lit. You would be in the minority if you were not a Hannah Montana fan in terms of the show. Now, the albums and actual music, but in terms of how she portrayed herself as a superstar and the songs that were on the show, most definitely. Huge Hannah Montana fan, right? So much that I cracked jokes when she got out of Disney and she became her own star, where I was like, damn, she should just stay Hannah Montana because Hannah Montana would have definitely been much better in these streets than Miley. But to its point, the special that she had, the 20-year reunion of just going through all of the things that created the legacy of Hannah Montana was very dope to see and very dope to the fact that it even happened is great. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I thought it was a nice testament to a legacy that a childhood star can go back to and be happy to be proud of, right? Obviously, there are things that happened in her life personally to where, you know, her being Hannah Montana as an actual character in Disney Channel probably won't be the same like Raven, you know, or maybe, probably not. Or I don't think so. But the point is, I did like that. I enjoyed that. It was a testament to my childhood. Once again, me feeling old, 29, getting to 30. Ugh. But yeah, man, 20-year reunion of Hannah Montana. I definitely, I like that. I love her. I love Hannah Montana songs. I can sing you a bunch of Hannah Montana songs. I can't name you one Miley Cyrus song. I'm sorry. Not trying to be funny. Sorry. But yeah, Hannah Montana definitely a very cornerstone in my life to where I'm just like, yo, 20 years? Man, where did the time go, man? Where did the time go? And that's where I'm at. We're like 29, but you know, it just gets there. It gets me a little emotional, not gonna lie. Get the bed. All right. But moving on. Actually, we're gonna go back to Druski. Druski once again broke the internet with his skits. Well, at least broke the white internet with the skit of Charlie Kirk's wife. Right. I guess I didn't understand who the woman was at first. I had to do my research and see the comparisons and see how he was doing what he was doing and how everybody was laughing and saying, wow, this is like, you know, OG, you know, Druski doing what he does. Because at first I was just like, it was some random white woman, him doing random white woman things, to be honest with you. But once I really got the context, I was like, wow. And a lot of people were upset. White America was upset. But that's where it's just like something about Druski is a genius to me. I was saying this to Chelsea when the shit dropped, actually. Something about Druski is very intentional. Obviously, because he did what he did with the makeup. You don't just do it off the spontaneous cuff. Like, you obviously have a plan to do what you're doing. But I know that he knows that the backlash that comes from these skits not necessarily ruins his career, but it paints him to be somebody who is insensitive to things. Or that can be the narrative. But I really like how he does it because I don't think he's serious in any of these things. I think he is the master troller of trolling. He, to me, does things that people find funny, but he's really making fun of the people who take this shit seriously, right? I think the whole thing is a parody to me. Like, he's not serious, but it's because he's acting serious and he's making it like real. It's funny. It's a genius move. I don't know if I can explain it any clearer than that, but he's one of those people that I definitely look at his skits as multi-layered because he's very intelligent. So he knows what he's doing and how it affects the masses, and he still does it anyway. It's not ignorance. It's calculated, and I like it. That's how I perceive it. But yeah, man, Druski keeps on coming through with those skits, man. You know, I love to see him do it. I love to see him do it. Keep going, Druski. Keep going. Ain't no Druski slander over here. But as we segue, we're gonna talk about some slander that I am so sick of hearing. And maybe this is the podcast that people are gonna tune in and be like, "Ooh, this is how you stand on things." But I'm just sick of this. I'm sick of this. I'm sick of this J.K. Rowling's slander. I'm sick of it. And granted, my ignorant ass is going to say things that people can easily rebuttal and have their justification of why you're not talking to not supporting J.K. Rowling, right? Then why the fuck is you watching the goddamn show? This is beyond what she said to me. This is beyond how you feel about her. This is disgusting that you, as a people, majority, because there's a majority, the stars, Emma Stone, you in there, the stars, the celebrities who like to poke at J.K. Rowling, but you want to watch the Harry Potter show. The story is by J.K. Rowling's. The reason why we even were excited for this show was because of J.K. Rowling's and the origin of this story that she created. And if I remember correctly, she used to write the actual story on napkins before it was on paper. If I remember correctly, J.K. Rowling is a creator, and I'm speaking from a creator space, a creator's point of view. That a lot of people who are judging J.K. Rowling are not creators. Nothing is more aggravating than people saying what they're saying about you as a person, but they want to highlight what you created. If you don't like me and you don't like what I represent, then take down what I created. That's natural. R. Kelly did what he did. We don't listen to R. Kelly no more. Chris Brown did what he did. We ain't listening to Chris Brown no more. Tory Lanez did what he did. We ain't doing Tory Lanez no more. J.K. Rowling said what she said. We shouldn't do anything regarding J.K. Rowling, especially her story, but we want to make it an HBO special. It's not even like I'm boycotting, but it's just like, yo, what we doing? What we doing? Like as a creator, that just rubs me the wrong way that people are continuing to say things about the creator of the show that everybody's going to be watching every week when it pops out, right? Like what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, yuck. This is the part where you have to be in certain spaces and dynamics to understand my point of view. You can say that I'm being ignorant to things that she said and I'm being indifferent or insensitive of or whatever. If you don't like the woman and the things that she created. If you don't like the woman, then don't watch what she created. But you want to have it both ways? Nah, I'm not with it. I don't like it. If you don't like KQ, don't listen to his music. If KQ did something egregious that society cannot turn a blind eye to, and I will forever be labeled as an outcast, why are you still bumping my music then, fuckers? Don't be putting my music in the next Avengers movie. If I pulled a Linkin Park, if I had a song that coexisted with a show, a movie, a cartoon hero, and I said something that was egregious or to get me canceled, whatever, but you continue to use my song for the actual thing, no. Take it, no. In the ways that I'm seeing it, if the slander of J.K. Rowling is so valid, then I wouldn't have anything that involves her or her likeness or anything about her creative mind on television to continue anything to represent her. Because this whole thing is representing of her. Harry Potter, Hermione Granger, Ron, Snape, the whole meme community that is Harry Potter on Instagram or other places is because of J.K. the fuck Rowlings. I think you get my point on how I feel about this. If you don't like the creator, then don't like the creation. And sometimes there are times where you don't like the creator but love the creation. But if it's so fucking bad, don't. Man, I'm done. But I ain't done. I still got some more hate to get off. Because I'm going to sound like a hater at the end of this podcast. I don't care. So the new single that Sexy Red put out called If You Want It. Someone put a meme out with that song behind Shawn Michaels. Vintage Shawn Michaels. Now, this is where I am in different communities on Instagram. I'm very versatile in very communities. So what I'm saying is there are varying memes that coexist in different communities that only people can understand. So I am a part of the wrestling meme community as well. So someone in the wrestling meme community created a video of old school Shawn Michaels. He was dancing. His entrance music would come out and he would dance. If you know Shawn Michaels, you know how he dances. Somebody put If You Want It in the background of the song when he came out. And people were saying, I'm not going to lie, if this song came out back in the day, this would be Shawn Michaels' theme song. If You Want It by Sexy Red. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I saw it, like I saw the video of him dancing with the song, I thought it was ridiculous. Then I watched it 2-3 more times. And if you're a Shawn Michaels fan like I am, and you know how Shawn was back in the day, a part of you will understand that this song with that old school Shawn Michaels actually works. It works. It's pretty dope. I'm not going to lie. Very creative. Shout out to the person who made that meme. That was very dope. So shout out to you. And honestly, I like the song. Not a lot of songs that I like with Sexy Red. I don't give Sexy Red a lot of, well, I did. Back in the day, I used to give Sexy Red a lot of love because a lot of people give me a lot of hate. And actually, I do enjoy Sexy Red in the pocket that she actually represents because you got to. She's made it this far and she's still here. So listen, you just got to give it up to the longevity. However, this song that she has made, I like it. He wants to hang with a bad bitch. That is the line that everyone knows of that song. I'm not going to get to the breakdown of that song. That's for another day. However, I will say It was funny to see the meme. It was funny. I enjoyed it. It was funny. It ain't funny no more. Why is it not funny no more? Because Shawn Michaels at his big age has seen this meme, like we've all seen this meme, and is now trying to promote it in real time. Not trying, he is promoting it in real time. He has promoted it in real time. And I'm not mad about it because Sexy Red has made appearances on NXT before. She already has appeared on a WWE platform, so this isn't new. However, if we're being real, Sexy Red's music does not appeal to WWE and its audience. They don't coexist. She can be a wrestling fan, and that's fine. You can come out and be the special general manager. Like, that's fine. Like, that's not what I'm tripping off of. And I guess the question is, what are you tripping off of? I'm tripping off of Shawn Michaels doing too damn much. Sit the fuck down. Sit down, Shawn. She don't need you to promote the album. God knows you did not listen to the album. And if you did listen to the album, that's very weird. I'm sorry, I'm going to say it. It's weird. It's weird, Shawn. It's weird, Shawn. It's weird if you listen to the album and you were like, yeah, this is it. No, it's not. It's not. Not for you, at least. It's not. Please don't try to relate to the young, hot girlies. It can get you in some trouble, Shawn. At this age, it's just nice to just be who you are and not get too deep in the sauce. And I think Shawn has obviously been in a bunch of situations in his life where he knows right from wrong, and he's a grown-ass old man that he knows he's just doing it for business and promotion. But let's just leave it there, Shawn. Let's just leave it there. Let's leave it at business and promotion. Like I said before, there are different types of whites. And Shawn, you are one of those whites that we as a black community love. And it ain't no issue with you promoting Sexy Red's album, generally. But personally, nah. You ain't got to do that, bro. You ain't got to do that. You ain't got to do that. It's okay. There's more than enough people who can do that, and it's fine. Oh, yeah. All right. I guess this will be an hour. I guess, as much as I do say I talk and I love to give it up, I will always make sure it's an hour. I will not go over an hour, especially if it's just me. If it was other people, then, if Whitley was here, this bitch would have been 2 hours because it would have been a whole bunch of segueing around. But that's I guess the ironic beauty of just me. There is no segues or no random outbursts or no random conversation that just comes up and we just get sidetracked. Oh, I miss those. I ain't gonna lie. Well, I have one more topic. This is actually very new, fresh off the mat. I was talking to Devin about this at work today. So I'm not familiar, and I guess I'm gonna get more information, or more information is out. But this is interesting. There was an ex-basketball player named Jaden Ivey who was fired for comments about pride, about the NBA supporting pride so loudly and so warmly. He had an issue with it and said that is not God. That is not Christ. That is not what we should be doing. Why are we doing this? That is not it. He got fired. He went on to continue to talk about this and pointed out big names like Steph, like LeBron James. Said, hey, you think that those rings gonna stop you from the sin that you did? You think winning those championships gonna stop what you did? God still see you. I said, ooh. And Devin brought this to my attention, right? Because I was watching the video. Devin was like, he might be talking. He might know something. I said, you know what, Devin? He just might. He just might. The reason why I brought this on the ticker, the last topic at least, is because we are living in an age of acceptance. Acceptance of who you are and no judgment, what you believe in, how you identify, your view of the world. You have the freedom to do that. We all have the freedom to do that. From all color, creed, race, sexuality, we all have the same freedoms to express who we are unapologetically. There are spaces for all of us to be who we want to be unapologetically. The NBA is a international global organization that represents every part of the world when it comes to players or staff, but mainly players who represent their home country. In said countries, they have rules and regulations and laws that prohibit things that we support in America. And if the NBA were in these places, then we would have to go off of their rules and regulations so we don't cause any issues. In America, we are the most free to do whatever you want and how you do things, and we go as far as making holidays for them. What's his name? Jordan Ivory, you have to understand that Jaden Ivey, you must understand that you are a part of an organization that is open to everything. There's Pride Month. There is Chinese New Year. There's Black History Month. I'm sorry, Latino awareness, women awareness. There are a bunch of communities that the NBA highlights and hits as far as their season goes annually. I'm not caping. I'm just trying to pull out the tunnel vision that Jaden Ivey and other people who think like Jaden Ivey have to the big picture here. And the big picture is we are in a world where everyone can be who they want to be. And you hating on the appreciation of a certain group of people is not good professionally, especially if your organization represents this group. You could have said this about any group of people that the NBA represents when it comes to a period of time where they highlight something, and you still would have been fired. So I don't look at it so much of him hating on it. It's if it wasn't Pride, he wouldn't have been fired. No, I believe a white player could have said something about why does the NBA highlight Black History Month? He would have been fired. I feel like a man who would have said, why do we highlight Women's History Month with the NBA? Why do we do that? There's no women on the court. He would have been fired. You know, I just feel like that was just one of those easy target statements that got you fired professionally. Professionally, yeah. Professionally, you can't say that. And I think as an NBA athlete, you're a professional all the time. So that's unfortunate for you. So yeah, you can't just go around saying that all the time. You can't say that. You can't say that. You can, but you can't. You're an NBA player, you know. Maybe if you said it on your podcast, I don't know. Who am I? I'm just saying. I'm not mad at what he said, but you just can't say that when you are a part of an organization that represents everyone. You can't hate. Can't hate. You can hate on players. You can hate on the game. There's a lot of things you can hate on in the NBA, but you can't hate on that, especially if that is not hurting or helping you for your team in the season. Focus on the game. Focus on basketball. Don't focus on the other things that are happening, especially if, I don't know what team you're on, but especially if you have goals and aspirations that you're trying to hit in your contract that has nothing to do with what is happening in the arena. That's all I got to say. Yeah, man, that's just, you know, how the cookie crumbled for me these last 2 weeks. I don't really have anything else. I could keep going, but I choose not to. I have to do a flip roozy roo, going back to work. So I want to get in and get out and make sure that y'all are pleased with the good hour of content. And also, I will be returning. My schedule will not be as hectic. Well, I can't say that, but I will say looking over yonder at my schedule now, it's not as crazy as it's been since the beginning of March. So let's see. We'll see. Obviously, I'll be back and tell you what it looks like. So this is episode 144 of the Highly Doubted Podcast. I am your host, Kate Cute Duel, and I am out. Bye.
Cheap while you in state, hard life when you're hard knocks, yeah. Every day is a sin day, always at the bad thoughts, yeah. Dry top on a Wednesday, hey, KQ on a Wednesday, hey, dry top on a Wednesday, sunroof with the hot top, talk cheap while you in state, hard life when you're hard knocks, yeah. Every day is a sin day, always at the bad thoughts, yeah. Dry top on a Wednesday, hey, KQ on a Wednesday, yeah.